Let's go out to Reno, Nevada, and talk to the great Valerie. What's up, Valerie?
Hi, can you hear me okay, Dr.
Oh
John?
my gosh, that sounds amazing. How are you?
Oh, I'm good, thank you. Thank you for taking my call.
Of course, of course. So what in the world's up?
Well, I guess my question is, how do I forgive myself for allowing someone to mistreat me? How do I move forward?
Wow, that's heavy. Tell me more about it.
I was in a relationship with this person for almost 2 years, and towards, I guess, the last maybe 8 months, things got really bad. He never physically touched me, but it was more of like the verbal abuse, and financially, I was dependent on him for the last 6 months, and he was always like, we would get into an argument, and he would be like, "Well, I'm going to take the money out of the account, and I wouldn't have access to it." Or he one time we got into an argument, and my family was in town, and he was drinking, and he knew I was going to need my car, and he ended up taking my car and driving to a bar, and I'm like trying to reach him. "Why did you take my car?" And his answer was, "To make you feel uncomfortable."
Do y'all have kids? Do y'all have kids together?
I got pregnant after. Okay, so to give a little bit more background, I cheated on him in the beginning of the relationship, and I got pregnant. And we both knew that we weren't sure whether it was going to be his or not. And he decided that we were going to continue and work on the relationship. But then when we took the test and it wasn't his reaction towards me and the baby completely changed.
Sure. Whew. All right. I want to change directions a bit. Is that cool?
That's fine.
Sometimes in a situation like the one you're in, or a situation where we fall in love with somebody, we trust somebody, we take a job with somebody, and then they don't just not treat us well, but they hurt us. Sometimes It's easier to blame ourselves because we feel like we could actually fix that. It's harder to live in a world where somebody says, "I love you," and then strands you in the middle of nowhere while you're pregnant. Or somebody takes all the money out of your account and says, "You have to go through me." That world is terrifying because those are supposed to be the people that ride or die with you, right? Those are supposed to be the people that love you. And so self-blame is often the easiest place to go, but it's not right. And so what I would tell you is, I don't know that Valerie needs to beat up Valerie. Valerie doesn't need to forgive Valerie because Valerie didn't do anything wrong. Valerie learned some new information, some new lessons.
Right.
What Valerie has to do is learn to live in a world where you can be completely vulnerable and somebody that you love is going to hurt you. And then the question is, who is Valerie going to be on the back end of that?
Right.
That's a scary world, right?
It is.
It's a scary world. I'm sorry that he treated you that way. You didn't deserve that.
Since I emailed you guys, things obviously changed, and I moved out, and my family has my back, and it's just, I feel like I failed.
Yeah. What did you fail, Valerie?
I don't know. I guess I wanted that perfect family, and
yeah, what you feel is grief. because you had a picture in your head of how things were going to turn out, and then it didn't happen that way. And you have that double-edged sword, right? You would probably do anything to take back cheating on this guy and getting pregnant, and you get the greatest gift in the whole world, which is a new baby, right?
I do, and
it's both in.
That's right.
It's both in. And you probably would look back and think, well, if I hadn't have done this and I hadn't have said this and I hadn't exploded on him in this one night and I contributed too, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to tell you, nobody with an ounce of, I'll just be very specific to men, nobody with an ounce of masculinity in their body, nobody with an ounce of dignity or respect in their body strands their girlfriend or their wife, ever. That's cowardly, childish behavior. No man with any sort of masculinity, any sort of strength or dignity or responsibility takes all the money out of the account and says, you got to go through me, as though you're some kind of overlord or her dad. It's cowardly, childish behavior. So you are trying to you're trying to lean up against a 9-year-old in an adult body and wonder what you did wrong. Nothing. Just a 9-year-old in an adult body.
His answer was always like, well, you did this to me. And it would always come back.
That's because he's a childish
cheating.
coward. He's a childish coward. My wife can't make me do anything. And I love her to the moon and back.
Mm-hmm.
I choose my responses. I choose my actions. I choose my thoughts. I choose my behaviors. I make choices. And she can frustrate me. She can make me sad. She can break my heart. She can make me mad. And then I choose what happens next. And how dare any grown man look at his friends, his boss, his wife, his kids, and say, you made me do bullcrap. He chose that. What you have to do is, in a weird way, it's not even a weird way. Can I tell you what I would recommend if you were my sister or just a buddy of mine?
Mm-hmm.
I would recommend you hold some sort of miniature vigil, some sort of miniature funeral for the picture you had in your head of the perfect family. Because you knew this baby was not his. And yet he said, I'm in. And
Correct.
he gave you an opportunity to exhale and to dream a little bit. And if you're like most parents, you already have pictures of what your kid coming home from college with some knuckleheaded boy or some knuckleheaded girl is going to look like. And trying to have Thanksgiving. You already have those pictures in your head. And boom, now they're going to be different. And you have to grieve that. I wanted this to happen, and it's not going to happen like this. It doesn't mean you're not going to have joy. It doesn't mean you're not going to have great relationships. You're going to fall in love again. All those things are still on the table. And I would even go as far as to say, I think they're going to happen. But you have to grieve. I thought this one was going to happen, and it's not.
All right.
Do you have lessons to learn from this on how you responded to things?
I definitely. I mean, for once, the cheating and the disrespect that I did towards him, but
cool.
I
That's
felt
over.
like for that same reason, I allowed myself for him to do all those things. Like I felt like I was looking for that forgiveness,
and he ran right over you.
I knew I deserved better. I just stay there.
So yeah, but again, I mean, I can read the data, and it's terrifying for a mom with a young child to consider the possibility that I'm going to be a single mom, unable to provide for us, or it's going to be a drastic shift in how me and my baby live. And I can shield my baby from the hell that I live in exchange for a roof. And so women have been making that choice for centuries. You're not crazy and you're not broken. You're trying to stay safe. And the courage you showed leaving this madness is incredible. And did you do dumb stuff? Yes.
Yeah.
Are we going to do it again? No. Because from this
No.
point forward, Valerie is a woman who never, ever cheats again. Valerie is a woman who never disrespects herself, somebody else's husband, or her own person that she's in a relationship with. That's it. Period.
Correct.
Done. So let's set that brick down and quit carrying it around everywhere. And by the way, this is for everybody listening and you. If somebody cheats on you, somebody hurts you, somebody breaks your heart, and you go through a period of being upset and angry and grief, all the normal things, and then you have a moment where you sit with them and you say, hey, I'm all in. We're going to get through this. We're going to work through this. I'm all in. From that point forward, you have to, you can't hold this crap over each other anymore. You got to move on. You can't grovel for the rest of your life. You'll have to rebuild something new, and then you have to commit to being vulnerable again, both of you. And that didn't happen here.
No.
So let's do two things. First thing is, I want you to get a couple of your family members who are ride or die, a couple of friends, and I want y'all to hold a small little ceremony for what was going to be. It's not. Let's call it just a small little funeral of the dream of the perfect little family. I think you're going to have a perfect little family moving forward, but it's just going to look different than the one you had in mind. Let's have a small funeral for it. And then I want you to write Valerie a letter. You. I want you to write what you learned in this situation, the things that you wish you could do over. I want you to let Valerie know that you love her. And here's who we're going to be moving forward. Then the goal is going to be to create a life where you can live into that, where you're going to exercise, where you're going to work, who you're going to surround yourself with, what you will and will not tolerate in a romantic relationship. You get to pick all those things. You get to choose that path forward. I'm proud of you for making the move. Stay on the line. I'm going to send you a copy of Own Your Past, Change Your Future. It's my last book, and just gives you a path from everything's in ash and where do I go from here. Thank you so much for the call, Valerie.